Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is June 17th. It is Friday, which is awesome. We've made it, right? Welcome to episode 134 of Simply Cyber's daily cyber threat briefing. I'm your host, Dr. Gerald Auger, and over the next 30 minutes, I'll be delivering the top cybersecurity news stories of the day and providing my expert analysis on each of these stories, on what it means to you as a practitioner, so how you can implement it in your organization, or if you're looking to break in the industry, giving you context around what that story means and how you could apply it in an interview to just blow the socks directly off the interviewer. Shout out and thanks to this stream's sponsor, Barricade Cyber Solutions. Cyber criminals have stolen your company's data and derailed your business operations. Barricade Cyber Solutions will help you resolve this ransomware attack and get your business back on track. Eric Taylor of Barricade Cyber Solutions, the CEO and lead incident responder, he was on stream last night. If you saw it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Barricade Cyber Solutions knows what they're doing. I would recommend you get an exploratory call just to kind of line things up before a bad situation happens. I want to remind you, if you hold professional certifications, CISP, CISA, CISM, for example, each episode of the daily cyber threat briefing is worth half a CPE. So you can stack those. If you're a regular here, that's 2.5 a week, 10 a month. Be sure to document literally the most enjoyable way that I'm aware of to get CPEs. Just say what's up in chat. If your name is like Navina Baban, good to see you, Navina. All set there just by saying good morning all. But Hefty Pegasus, maybe you want to point to saying what's up, happy Friday. It is Bill Green or whatever. That way, if an auditor ever calls you out, you have that direct mapping of this is me, my online persona. And you know what I mean? You get those credits, which is awesome. If you're live, love it. I see 52 of you stacking in here. Thank you for being here on an early Friday morning. We're going to have a great show today. If you're watching on replay, hashtag team replay. I saw some people dropping that hashtag in the comments after the fact. I absolutely love it. What's up to Will and Casey, AKA Base Case. Good to see you guys on the restream. If you want to jump right to the news, I do not have a ticker going, but when this graphic turns into news, you could scrub to the right. You'll see that we're dropping into the stories. That's when the podcast will start fully. But for the next, I don't know, say 90 seconds or so, I'm going to be happily greeting everybody that I possibly can into chat. Special shout out. It is Friday, so I'm thinking that Brent and Emerson are all up in chat this morning. Good morning, Emerson. Hey, Chinadu, good to see you. Gamecock 1992, where are you at? Hey, Sabasat, always a pleasure. Black Knight, what's up? There's Eric Taylor, my man from Barricade Cyber Solutions. Dev Meister, how you doing? No. So Dev Meister, you get credit for attending the replay or the live stream. Basically, a continuing education credit just means that you're staying informed, you're staying sharp in the industry. But they don't want someone getting a CISP and then going to Tibet for 25 years to study, to meditate and stuff like that, and then coming back and being like, oh, I'm a CISP, so I can do whatever, security engineering. They want to make sure that you're staying current. That way the efficacy of your ability to deliver value from an information security perspective is sound. And then, they don't have any CISPs running around, don't know what's going on. Got both puppies in chat today. Adam Dye, good to see you. Hey, Helen, always nice on LinkedIn. Roshin, good to see you. Nazreen Garuba, good to see you. Hey, Kimberly, good to see you. Shalene, Kenneth Thompson, Joel Belton. Guys, I'm loving 70 people in here already. Banging for a Friday morning. Tough loss by the Celtics last night, if anyone's following NBA. I was a Tekken. I loved Tekken. I was a big Tekken fan. Hey, Kayla Rose. Crowbar, good to see you. Aaron Martin. Yeah, I see the tearing on my screen too. I think it's my camera. I appreciate that. Hopefully the shared screen will be better and you guys won't have to deal with that too much. Will Reed, always nice. Yeah, that's all right, Brad. It's okay. Celtics didn't play like they deserved it, honestly. My video feed is glitching. I can't do anything about that right now. I'm working from a limited capacity, so that's okay. But the good news is My French press is not tearing. I'm about 4/5 of the way through this sucker. So we are good to go. Yeah, Black Hills all up in here. Make sure to support Black Hills Information Security. They are doing everything well. All right, guys, let's get into the news. We've got a lot to cover this morning. Hey, Karen Peterson. Not sure if Matt Mears is up in here, but if he is, good morning, Matt. Chris Frazier, nice to see you. Chris, by the way, I hope your new job, I know it's been a minute since you started it, but I hope you're enjoying your new job, your new location, all the changes that came with it. All right, guys, if you want to play along, go to cisoseries.com, cisoseries.com. We will be grabbing that stuff and running the show. Also, a reminder, we will be raffling off the final pound of coffee later in the episode, so stick around if you're interested in getting some of that Hacker Man coffee. I'm waiting for my beans to show up. I'm super pumped. Obviously, big big coffee guy. Oh, that's great, Chris. I'm super pumped for you that you love your new job. That's the way it should be, honestly. All right, guys, let's get into the news. Right, sit back, relax, and let's have a great Friday briefing.
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
It's Friday, June 17th, 2022. House Armed Services Chair calls national security software systems too vulnerable. In a story we have heard from many similar sources, the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, Adam Smith, said on Tuesday that the United States needs to invest far more in protecting national security communications and software. He said, quote, "Our number one biggest vulnerability in the cyber world is that we have systems that are too vulnerable to attack right now because they're old and we just haven't updated them. Rather than buying another how many ever F-35s, those are combat planes, I'd rather pour that money into developing the JADC2, the Joint All-Domain Command and Control vision of a secure communication system that we can protect." End quote.
All right, so I agree 100% with this, right? I don't know where you stand on this particular topic, but the idea is that we are, and guys, we see this all the freaking time. It kills me. Um, we are investing heavily in new tech, right? And like the U.S. government, the Department of Defense, it's no different than a business, right? Like you invest some capital expense. So like let's say $1 million, you buy $1 million system and the system does something, right? It's delivering value on whatever it's supposed to do. Well, unless that system fully breaks, people are reluctant to replace it, right? Why would you invest in replacing something that's doing what it's supposed to do? Now, that is such a naive perspective to take because you have to think this thing needs to be maintained. You need to pay people to maintain it. You need to stay on top of it. A lot of technology ages out, so you're dealing with that, right? But as long as the thing is delivering on what it is, people will put band-aids on it. They'll put spare tires on it. Like it's just a mess. And now it's gotten to the point where the House Armed Service Committee is talking about like, hey, instead of us investing like $8 billion into an F-35 Superjet, how about we invest $8 billion into repairing or replacing, aging infrastructure, right? So this is where on the surface, that sounds fine, right? Obviously, like that makes a total sense, right? We don't need another one of these super jets. But and this is where cynical Jerry comes in. Like, who owns the contract for those super jets? Lockheed Martin, right? Or whoever, right? Raytheon. It doesn't, Halliburton, doesn't matter. We're talking millions, almost billions of dollars, right? This is real money that really matters to these big capitalistic businesses. So they are incentivized, unless they're going to win the contract to replace the aging technology, they're going to push lobbyists and, you know, handshakes and stuff like that, and campaign sponsorships to make sure that these like F-35 programs and these other programs stay funded and stay moving forward. I know it's cynical, but at least somebody is saying we should repair the bridge instead of building a new bridge right next to it, right? Or that's probably a bad example because you could build a new bridge in order to migrate off the old bridge. But my point is, there has been kind of a misalignment of how you are allocating funds, right? And by the way, let's just say, for example, that they say today, Like, hey, you know what, Adam Smith, you're 100% right. Let's not fund the F-35. One more plane. Let's give you $8 billion to fix aging infrastructure. Guys, fixing aging infrastructure, allocating money, put the contracts out, understanding what the security architecture and what the IT architecture would look like of the new platform, implementing it, training staff up. This is like a 3-year minimum project to replace some type of big system, right? Minimum 3 years. So even if you said yes and gave the money today, we're still talking years before you're even remotely close to having repaired or kind of shored up the dam, if you will. These things you don't turn around on a dime. It's like turning a cruise ship around. So be mindful of that. And you could take that for your own professional career. If you work at a slightly larger organization, migrating IT architecture is a massive undertaking. We talked last night on stream with Eric Taylor about when a business gets ransomware and they have to replace their entire network because they have no confidence in it any longer. It is a major time investment, financial investment, and impact to the business because it will go down for some period of time. So I'm glad they're having these conversations, but I mean, dude, it's like it's not good, right? Like we're way down the road, and we're talking about making a roadmap. It's like, dude, you're like way down the road. Like we should have done this years ago. Whatever.
Microsoft Office 365 autosave can assist cloud ransomware attacks. Security researchers at Proofpoint are warning that threat actors could hijack Office 365 accounts to encrypt files stored in SharePoint and OneDrive and then hold them for ransom. The attack relies on abusing the autosave feature that creates cloud backups of files being edited. The actors access the files through phishing or malicious OAuth apps, and then they use the trick of locking the files and making recovery more difficult by reducing the version numbering limit and encrypting all files more than that limit.
Okay. I mean, this is an interesting tactic. I mean, this is more of an FU. This is more of an FU by the threat actors more than anything. Um, there's nothing super clever here. They get into your Office 365. If you guys have used Office 365, which many of us have used at this point, you're typing, you don't really hit save anymore, which by the way, anyone in chat, I'm old. Like, doesn't it feel like I wish there was a button that you could do file save, even though it wouldn't do anything? It would just be a JavaScript that does like just semicolon, semicolon, like it doesn't do any function. But I always feel uncomfortable like closing a browser when I haven't saved my document. So I wish they would just put that feature in to make, old gray hairs like me feel more comfortable that I'm doing something to save it. But that aside, this isn't really that complicated, right? Threat actors get in your Office 365. They encrypt your stuff, and then basically it's the same as deleting your backups, right? They just change your versioning so you can't go back to an old version. It's annoying. It's pretty, unless they can script this is kind of a high level touch, because you'd have to delete you'd have to touch each file to delete the old version. So I don't know if there's any type of like automation that goes on for this. It'd be curious if there was, simply because the file names are going to change, but I don't know. Anyways, this is annoying. This is annoying, basically. Threat actors going that little extra mile to piss you off and screw up your OneDrive file. So the old puppy's back there.
Oh my God, there's more to oh my God. Researchers from Wiz, who previously found 4 serious flaws in Azure's Open Management Infrastructure, OMI, which they called Oh My God, presented some related news at RSA. Pretty much every cloud provider is installing similar software, quote, without customers' awareness or explicit consent, end quote. They say this comes in the form of middleware that bridges customer VMs and the provider's other managed services. They are needed to enable advanced VM features like log collection, automatic updating, and configuration syncing, but they also add new potential attack surfaces that, because customers don't know about them, can't be defended against. Wiz has published a GitHub page with a list of 12 agents installed secretly, just like OMI, on Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud, and says there are likely many more.
Okay, so this is not surprising. There is a middleware software that people don't know about. That happens all the time. It's got a pretty gross vulnerability. According to the story, there's actually 4 different vulnerabilities, but the most egregious one is the one I've pulled up right here, CVE 2021-38647. And it basically can allow an attacker to gain root on a virtual machine with a single packet simply by stripping the authentication header, which is trivial to do. Okay, you can use you can use Burp Suite to manipulate packets. You could use Wireshark to look at the packets. I'm not sure if you can use Wireshark to modify packets and then push them. But long story short, this is not a complicated attack as far as, I know you guys can't see it, but this is not a complicated attack as far as like manipulating network packets, right? So be mindful of this. I'm not going to flip out, but if this thing is called oh my God or OMG, that is just begging for a logo, okay? That's begging for a logo branding, right? So yeah, Wireshark should be passive. You can listen on Wireshark, but you can also stop and, I don't know if you can replay with Wireshark. I know you can do replay with oh my God, Jerry, what the hell? Burp Suite. Thank you. Hold on. Gotta prime the pump here with some cafe. Long story short, I don't really know what you're supposed to do about this. Like the oh my God vulnerabilities are interesting, but they're middleware, and I'm not quite sure where they are. This tech this came out at RSA last week, which is cool. So if you were there at RSA, you may have seen that. It says cloud providers often install the secret agent to allow them to manage VMs across different customers. So this kind of sucks because like you could be a regular organization and not even know that this is here. So if the cloud providers are installing this software, they really should be on the hook for maintaining and managing it. If you get a VM popped, you may not even notice it, honestly. If you have EDR on it, you may notice it when they bring down the second stage payload. But just a compromise with a single packet, it's kind of hard to tell. Plus, it doesn't really tell you. It says gain root on a VM with a single packet. So I guess you get root access, which is not good because then if you're root, you can stop EDR agents. You can uninstall EDR agents. You can install new software. You can operate. Well, you can do all sorts of stuff. It's root, right? That's the God account pretty much. So be mindful of that. Unfortunately, this sucks. So if you have Azure, I guess I would just stay on top of this one. I'm not really sure what to do with this. Honestly, I don't know how widespread this is. What's the score on this, by the way? Usually you can look at the CVE score. It's a 9.8. Jesus. So 9.8's pretty 9.8's pretty high. That's something you might want to check out. Is there a patch for it? I don't even know how you patch it because you're not really maintaining it. So
Facebook Messenger scam dupes millions and makes millions. A well-crafted phishing message sent through Facebook Messenger has caught 10 million Facebook users so far. This scam has lasted for months, as we reported back on February 1st. But the scam continues to push victims to a fake Facebook login page where they submit their Facebook credentials. It uses a series of redirects which look legitimate and fool Facebook's blocking features. Researchers at PIXM estimate that there have been nearly 400 million US-based page views of the exit page, which may have generated $59 million from Q4 2021 to the present for the threat actors.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys are using Facebook. I know Facebook Messenger is popular. I don't really use Facebook. So I don't know how wide it is. I don't know how often, I don't know if it's likely to get like unsolicited messages on Facebook Messenger. I have WhatsApp and I get periodically, unsolicited DMs that look like, oh, it's a wrong number, but hey, do you want to hang out? Which is like the dumbest attack ever. So again, I wish I had more context. I mean, basically this phishing campaign, this is phishing 101. Okay, guys. So here's the deal. A fish comes in and it redirects you to a lookalike page that has a Facebook login, and then you put in your creds and they get compromised. Period. End of story. So this isn't too crazy. I guess the idea here is that it's worked on millions of people. So obviously it's a widespread attack and it's been around for a while. I don't understand why Facebook isn't able to kind of squash this particular attack right now, because they are pretty good at identifying this stuff. It did say that it uses a host of redirects to get around it. this is a good opportunity to educate your end users. A lot of people use Facebook, right? It's certainly everybody knows about Facebook, right? So use this as an opportunity to talk about phishing and talk about, more importantly, talk about lookalike login pages. You can see here, you can even use this as an example, but like this right here is a fake web page. This is the threat actor's lookalike page. And this would fool anybody because it's identical. You could tell your end users, listen, it's trivial to scrape a website, which maybe that might even be too technical to say, but like you could say it's trivial to make a website look just like another website, right? Well, it's easy. So if you're going to put in your username and password into a site and it's the wrong site, you're basically giving it to a bad guy. So be aware of these phishing techniques. Here's what a fish looks like, yada, yada, yada. Don't get your Facebook account compromised. By the way, one thing that I have found is a really difficult sell for end users is the perceived value of the credentials and the platform. So for example, on this Facebook one, you might get an end user who thinks or says, it's just my Facebook account. Who cares? I don't care. Right. I've had someone recently say they're a realtor and they have access to MLS. And they're like, oh, which is like the realtor programs in the United States to see like houses and stuff that are for sale. And they're like, oh, I have to do multi-factor. Oh, like it's so, like, why do I have to do it? Who cares if they get into my MLS? Like, you should definitely take that opportunity to point out that, like, listen, if you're using the same password across systems and someone gets that password, they're going to try to log into more than Facebook or MLS. They're like, bad guys have scripts that just go and run across all the major platforms. Okay, so A, there's your first concern. B, they can operate as you and trick other people into giving up their credentials as well. So you could be like basically an accomplice that is not wanting to be an accomplice, but you are, right? And then 3, you may have kind of metadata or whatever, like, here's your address, right? Like you log into a system that isn't super important, but then they go to your account page, and then you have like your personal phone number, your personal address, etc. And you might think like, well, what's the big deal with that? I just listened to a Darknet Diary driving up here over the weekend, and it was really, really a good one. It's the most recent one. It's about the guy who oh god, his name's like Joseph, and he basically was like started off like Roblox social engineering. I think it was Roblox. Anyways, he moves up to becoming like the Verizon SIM swapper guy. He steals like $8 million from like Cash Machine, which was like a Bitcoin. I think it's Cash Machine or something like that. Anyways, it's a great story. But he was talking about SIM swapping, and he said, the telcos started putting in additional levels of validation and scrutiny, and one of them was your Verizon account number you needed to know. And he's like, oh, I could just log into this system over here and find that. So data points that end users may not think are valuable can be combined as OSINT is being done and weaponized in a way. So long story short, make people aware that they don't want their accounts compromised, including a Facebook account. Okay. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. Because I really feel like a lot of people don't realize that lookalike sites exist. And this is like a common practice for ripping people's credentials off. All right.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Okay, now a word from our sponsor. First things first, here, guys. Let me tell you about Whole Cyber Human Initiative. Paul Cummings and the gang over there are doing a wonderful job of trying to cut through the noise, save people on $18,000 boot camps, and actually curate free cybersecurity resources in a logical fashion and provide it as kind of a delivered service with mentorship and stuff that can help people break into cybersecurity or improve their situation. I think they're mostly targeting people breaking into cybersecurity. So if you just graduated college, if you're transitioning from the military, which I think is one of their main audiences, this is a good thing for you. Obviously, Simply Cyber representing right here. Very, very proud to be a partner and supportive of the Whole Cyber Human Initiative. they are sponsoring a coffee giveaway. So let me give you the keyword. The keyword today is TGIF. TGIF. So enter TGIF in chat right now. If you want, I'm going to drop it in chat so you can see what it is. Boom, TGIF. If you want to enter to win a pound of coffee from compliments of Whole Cyber Human Initiative. So yeah, let it fly. There you go. TGIF. All right, so we're going to keep going on that. Thank you very much to Whole Cyber Human Initiative for their donation. Guys, I also want to take a minute and tell you about the US Cyber Games. Simply Cyber is a proud sponsor and affiliated with the US Cyber Games. Super pumped about that. Love what they're doing. There is a kickoff event Thursday, June 30th. If you're interested, look at this, guys. It's basically like a conference. You can see here's the whole agenda, but there is keynote. You may have heard of Jen Easterly, director at CISA. She is the keynote speaker. I will be in attendance for that. Absolutely awesome. Then they're going to be talking about what the US Cyber team did in Greece in the international competition. And then just a whole host of wonderful speakers. We see Eric Bellardo as a moderator on an open panel. We've got CISOs. Guys, this thing is going to be dope. I'm going to drop it in chat right now. If you're interested, it's free to register. Just go register right here and you can attend and you'll be good to go. Check out US Cyber Games. So I just put a link in there. And then the final thing before we get back to the news stories is I want to remind everybody that I am making an effort to get the Simply Cyber Instagram page up and running. At least, you know, 1 or 2 pieces of content a day. I've gotten a lot of great feedback. Trying to incorporate that feedback as best I can, like I do with all the feedback y'all provide, because, you know, I might run Simply Cyber, but to me, it's our community. So I'm interested in making it valuable to all of us. There's a link to the Instagram if you want to give that a follow. And, you know, like I said, I'll continue to push content out on the Instagram that I think can add value to you. All right, let's get back into the news.
Datadog. Watch Datadog Treacherous Digital Economy. You can watch this now at datadoghq.com/CISO. That's datadoghq.com/CISO. Blue Mockingbird exploits 3-year-old Telerik flaws to deploy Cobalt Strike. A threat actor known as Blue Mockingbird is targeting Telerik UI vulnerabilities to compromise servers, install Cobalt Strike beacons, and mine Monero by hijacking system resources. The group exploits a flaw with the CVE number 2019-18935, which is a 9.8 level severity that leads to remote code execution in the Telerik UI library for ASP.NET AJAX. The same threat actor has targeted vulnerable Microsoft IIS servers that used Telerik UI in May of 2020, a year since the vendor released security updates. Sophos researchers reported yesterday that Blue Mockingbird is still leveraging the same flaw to launch these cyber attacks.
Okay. All right, guys. So we got a big one. You might want to grab your notebook on this one. Okay, so the Telerik UI has a vulnerability. That's first and foremost. You're going to see this Telerik UI. You may not know you have it in your environment, but if you are hosting web applications or web services that have a IIS, and I forget what the acronym for IIS is, but it's basically Microsoft's web server. If you're doing ASP.NET framework underneath delivering an IIS server, you may have this Telerik UI. The Telerik UI vulnerability came out 3 years ago, right? You can see because of the CVE name, 2019. That's the standard. It's CVE-year it's discovered, and then a unique identifier. This thing's been around for 3 years. You should know about it. The chances that you have this in your environment could be good if you're not actively aware of like your software inventory, if you're not aware of like we talked earlier about like someone develops something and then hey, Ripley, someone develops something and then thank you, Barricade. Someone develops something and then they left the company and it just works. Like sometimes you see these like homegrown solutions, like you might have a really robust front end for something and then somebody in IT writes a little script so staff can like check their pay stubs or whatever, or The system for requesting PTO is like a homegrown solution, and everybody loves it because it's super easy, but it's a gross vulnerable nightmare. This is what's going on there. So a couple things that we're going to talk about. Guys, relax. Couple of things we're going to talk about here. Let's go through the NIST cybersecurity framework, shall we? Since it's Friday, and who doesn't love a good NIST cybersecurity framework? Listen, identify. You should know whether or not you have this in your environment from a software inventory perspective. B, protect. You should definitely patch your crap if you have this vulnerability in your environment, and be aware. 3, detect. If you don't patch this, look at all these things, guys. You should have EDR on your endpoints on your web server. This right here, this vulnerability, it writes a DLL file, probably overwrites. It does write to the temp directory, so it's probably a new DLL file. So if you see writing to the temp directory with DLLs, that could be a problem. Also, from a detect perspective, lateral movement and persistence versus GPO and PowerShell. If you see lateral persistence going on, lateral persistence, that's buzzword bingo. If you see lateral movement in the establishment of persistence via PowerShell, wicked red flag. Okay, that should you should like hit the red button and get the whoop, whoop going. Okay, then if you see from a detection perspective, if you see, like, by the way, the IP address in this graphic right here, this thing is probably toast. So don't put this IP address explicitly in your, well, you could put it in your SIM and look for it, but don't put this as like a firewall rule, because that, I assure you, that IP is burned at this point. But from a detection perspective, and then from a response perspective, obviously you want to have clean images, be able to back up and restore from those. You have to assume if you find this Cobalt Strike payload on your endpoints that they're compromised. So be ready to do that, and then recover. You can have peace of mind when you execute and finalize the response process and recover back into a known good state. That's NIST CSF in a nutshell. Boom. Thank you very much. Now, I also want to point out, if this thing is Cobalt Strike GPO deployment and they're pushing Cobalt Strike to every endpoint via GPO, you've got a real big problem, because Cobalt Strike's no joke. The final thing I'll say is that you can, Cobalt Strike could be difficult to detect, but Black Hills Information Security has a solution called RITA, which is difficult to implement. But if you do get it working, you can see Cobalt Strike beaconing, which is basically, humans are erratic the way that they go on websites and stuff like that. Computers are not erratic. They're very predictable. So a beacon is like, you can see a smooth repetition, like every 15 seconds, like ping, 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 right? And if you look at it over a timeline, it'll be very obvious. Like, it'll have a very uniform look to it. That's beaconing, and it's a visual indicator that you've got a hot mess all up in your environment. Hey, Ripley, come on, man. Really?
Unprotected Elasticsearch server leaks 1 million customers' records. Researchers at Safety Detectives claim they found almost 2 billion records that describe the affairs of 1 million people, openly available on an Elasticsearch server run by a Malaysian point-of-sale software vendor, StoreHub. The information includes names, addresses, email addresses, and point-of-sale device types used by these customers, as well as partially masked credit card information. StoreHub did not respond to initial warnings from Safety Detectives, but quickly patched the vulnerability once AWS and Malaysia's Computer Emergency Response Team were alerted.
All right. So, okay, couple things here. One, publicly exposed data set, and some researchers find it. Okay, so that's like a regular story. Okay. 2, I just want to point out, if you have ever put a honeypot on the internet, it gets hit within minutes. Okay, we might do a live stream honeypot. I did one a couple years ago, and it was fun. I want to do another live stream honeypot, like build it and then watch it. But if this Elasticsearch server was exposed to the internet, I guarantee you people found it way before these security researchers did, and have definitely sucked off the data. Now, what I find most interesting about this story is that StoreHub, who had the data, for better or worse, whether or not they should have been capturing that data, got notified by the security researcher and said, hey, you've got this exposed, you've got this data exposed, you might want to fix it. And they ignored them. So the security researcher escalated to AWS and the Malaysian CERT, and lo and behold, 3 days later, they fixed the problem. So two things. One, it makes me wonder if the person that was originally contacted at StoreHub was like the wrong person or thought it was like a ruse or a phish and just ignored it. Two, I'm glad that they fixed it once they escalated it. I personally have discovered some exposed systems, systems of issue, and contacted the owner of those systems and never heard back. I don't do it very often because I don't want to entangle myself with that, especially if something bad happens and then all of a sudden I'm like suspect number one, which I'm totally not interested in being a suspect in anything. So this is interesting. Much like S3 buckets, guys, if you're going to put a data store, actually, let's blame this on the IT people since we're all InfoSec people. If the IT people are going to put a public database or repo or an Elasticsearch server or whatever facing the internet, they have to configure it securely before they put it on the internet. It's called a test environment. I know I'm talking crazy. I know I'm talking like, 2001 Space Odyssey future stuff here, but there's a concept where you can build something before you put it in prod and actually check it. It takes more time. It doesn't deliver value to the business immediately, but instead of sticking your, instead of like jumping in like a fire and seeing if you get burned, like you can actually, try it out first, see where the problems are. This may not have fixed everything though, because if you did a test environment, again, blaming IT, like Carl works in IT today. They may be testing it in the test environment for delivery of service, right? Like the way that IT people think, right? Hey, can you access this Elasticsearch? Does it pull the data that we want? Do the API calls work? Yes, yes, yes. Move to prod. They may not be saying, is it? Are there access control lists? Are services shut off that don't need to be running? Can anyone access this? Not just the people that are supposed to access that. IT people may not be asking themselves that. A lot of IT people are security minded, so I'm not poo-pooing on all, but you need to remember that IT's mission is availability and supporting the business's IT needs. InfoSec's mission is to secure the business and ensure that data is protected. And again, sometimes those missions don't align.
Interpol raids hundreds of scammy call centers in a sweep. This sweep involved more than 1,770 call centers and resulted in the arrests of 2,000 suspected scammers and money launderers. This, according to an announcement by Interpol on Wednesday. The 2-month operation between March and May involved 76 countries and also intercepted $50 million worth of stolen funds. Their focus was on business email compromise and romance and job offer scams. Heineken says,
Good. I hope that they have swift justice, right? I know some countries outside the United States have more corporal punishment for crimes. I find these social engineering things absolutely disgusting. They usually prey on elderly people who aren't particularly savvy of these attack techniques. I have seen on Scam Baiter YouTube channel, which, by the way, kudos to the people who do those they're effectively like hackbacks where they're tricking the call center stuff. But like when you hear the call center scam people ripping off victims, I mean, they're just horrible people. Like it's disgusting. So way to go, Interpol. I do find that this whole call center scam, romance scam, social engineering scam, you've got to thank you for your Best Buy purchase, $700, call us if it's not yours. Like all of those things, I feel like that's a plague on our society right now. And these people are taking full advantage of it. Now, I will say one thing. I do understand why they're doing it. Okay. A, it works. So that obviously that's one reason, but B, some people don't have a better choice, right? Like I know Ghana, the country of Ghana, has like a pretty advanced romance scam scheme going on. It's almost like a GDP for Ghana, and a lot of those people who live there, they don't have better employment opportunities. So if you're backed into a corner and you need to make money to feed your children, you're going to do what you need to do. So I'm not endorsing what they're doing. I think it's absolutely vile, but I can understand the human mindset of why they're doing it, right? But victims, there are victims. People do get hurt. People lose their retirement, their life savings. So I'm wicked glad that Interpol is going after this and cracking down. 76 countries is no joke. I don't know how many countries are in the world, but 76 sounds like a lot. $50 million worth of stolen funds. That's a lot of Amazon gift cards, y'all. Guys, the briefing's almost over, okay? All right. Way to go, Interpol. By the way, like I need to get a t-shirt like Simply Cyber loves international law enforcement cooperation. I'll work on the acronym, but I love some international law enforcement cooperation.
There's no free beer and warns of a phishing scam. The brewing company Heineken has confirmed that a Father's Day contest circulating on WhatsApp, which promises a chance to win one of 5,000 coolers full of their beer, is a fraud. They are asking people not to click on the link that connects to the fake contest's website. This website page asks visitors, as you might expect, for their personal information, such as names, email addresses, and phone numbers. Just a reminder.
Okay, so here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing, okay? First of all, the mistake was using Heineken, right? Am I right? Okay, okay, I'm such a beer snob, but let's move past that for a second. Here's the problem. Here's an opportunity. One, threat actors are regularly going to use current events or whatever as topical things in order to make their phishes more credible and kind of promote the click-through rate of victims clicking through. So like look for in the United States, they just announced like all the cities in the US, including Boston, way to go Gillette Stadium. Hopefully they get a better soccer field for the revolution. But FIFA is coming to the United States in 2026. World Cup sites have been announced. I guarantee you there will be an uptick in phishing attacks that leverage FIFA as kind of the vehicle for the social engineering. So Father's Day is coming up. I'm a father. I'm well aware of it. It's very cool. So this WhatsApp attack, probably posing as Heineken. The username is probably not officially Heineken. That's one thing to note. Secondly, giving away free beer. I mean, I guess that's one way to do it, but you know, it's just topical. So make sure that when you're educating your end users, you make them aware that whatever current event there is, that is going to be an increased target, right? In fact, if you've taken my GRC course, you know that I'm an advocate of like short but like frequent security awareness messaging. This is a perfect one where you can just grab this story, right? People know what WhatsApp is. People know what Father's Day is. People know what Heineken beer is, unfortunately. So you can wrap that up and just say, hey, like, check it out. Like, here's a perfect example of a scam that criminals use. Be mindful of it. And like, basically you'll start keying people into thinking about like, oh, like I like, this is a real thing. I would have fallen for this, right? Instead of some elaborate ruse that you see in Hollywood movies where people like, I'm never going to be targeted by Swordfish and Gene Hackman or Hugh Jackman. No, this is like much more personal, much more real, much more down to earth, to the ground. So use this as an opportunity. And by the way, if you fell for this, I'm sorry. You definitely shouldn't be trusting randoms on on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is such a trash. It's there's so much scams going on up on WhatsApp. Okay, guys. So I want to make everybody aware that later today at 4 p.m. on Simply Cyber's channel, we will be doing What's on Your Radar. I'll put a link in chat right now so you can get to it. This will be the final version or the final episode of What's on Your Radar. We're actually going to shelf this show in place of another show that we're working on. If you enjoyed Radar, thank you very much. We might bring it back depending on community interest. But basically, there'll be 3 senior industry professionals, including myself, that will be talking about a specific topic that caught their eye this week or recently, and why it caught their eye specifically, so you can understand kind of the mindset of senior practitioners. I think I might just flip out on logo branding or vulnerability logo branding, because that Hertzbleed thing yesterday is still bothering me. Also, I want to share with you guys, if you did not catch this, If you did not catch this live stream yesterday, of all of the live streams that Simply Cyber Live has done recently, and I argue that there's been a lot of value in all the guest interviews I've done, so they're all good quality. But guys, this one we did last night with Eric Taylor was a real gem, okay? If you are really serious about working in incident response, not SOC analyst, okay? Incident response, digital forensics incident response. If you want to like know what a day in the life is of someone who does ransomware incident response on the daily, this is 1 hour long. It felt like it was 15 minutes long. It moved so quick. It was a very, very value add interview. Eric brought just straight knowledge. So definitely go check that out if that's something you're interested in. I'm actually going to plan on clipping up a bunch of snackable pieces of content from this interview with Eric, because it was just, it was eye-opening, to be honest with you. Okay, let's do the raffle for the coffee. Good luck to everybody who did enter TGIF. Ready? Here we go. Oh, we have a new squad member too, Gary Sturgiades. If I said that wrong, Gary, I am sorry, but thank you for the sub. As soon as I get my anime wow sound. Come on, guy. There we go. All right, let's roll for the coffee. Congratulations, Gershon Chapman. Gershon Chapman is the winner of the coffee. Gershon, if you can, please contact me through the Discord channel. You can go to discord.gg/simplycyber. I'll put that in chat as well. We have hit level 3 on the boost, so we can have a really cool URL for the Discord server now. Could you put that in the chat window like you said? Oh, yeah, hold on 1 second. This is a link to the Eric Taylor interview. I definitely give that a shot. Here is a link to the Radar interview if people are feeling it. This is for later today. All right, cool. It's like it's 47 minutes. Guys, the daily cyber threat briefing has been running a little long. Let me know in chat if you will. I'll come back and look. I was keeping it to 30 minutes, but I don't keep an eye on the clock. I just kind of go with it and organically deliver the threat briefing. So if you think 47 minutes is too long, holler at me, let me know. I'll tighten it up a little bit. I'm going to read a little bit of chat right now, guys. But if you are here, thank you so much for being here. We will be back, or we'll be on later today at 4 o'clock for the Radar, or every day at 8 a.m. for the daily cyber threat briefing. Genuinely appreciate all of you. Normally I would end the stream right now, but I am going to spend a minute looking at chat and talking to some people. So thank you. If you need to take off and get going for the day, totally understood. Looking at chat real quick. Stop watching the clock. Yeah, that's right. Go with the flow. All right, I can do that. Have a great weekend, Navina. Absolutely. Gershon, congratulations. DM me on Discord if you can. Grayson, good morning. Good to see you. Oh, we were supposed to do the joke of the day. I forgot about that. Actually, the joke of the day, Grayson did tell me a joke earlier in the week. I don't know if that's the one he wants, but we'll go with it, okay? Since it is Friday and we're trying to do joke of the day. The joke Grayson told me was, why do scuba divers fall back out of a boat when they go into the water? Why do scuba divers fall back when they go into the water? You're going to type it in chat, Gray? Okay. Oh my God. It is Father's Day weekend. The reason scuba divers fall back is because if they fall forward, they would fall into the boat. That's good. That's good. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in chat. I know Shane Prevost, your dad. Eric Taylor, I know your dad. I'm glad you're enjoying the GRC course, Joshua. Yeah, it's hard. I did put a schedule in there so you can kind of absorb it and manage it in a logical way. SOC analyst and incident response, yes, there is a difference. Actually, Eric answers that question specifically at the end of the stream. But if you're interested, the main thing is you can think of a SOC analyst as trying to proactively look for problems, and an incident responder comes in after problems have been identified and you're trying to contain the situation. Thank you for the Father's Day, Richard. I appreciate that. Oh, BMO Secure. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. Why they use Linux in space, because they can't open Windows. Oh, that's right. Yep. Actually, I should have mentioned that too. For the GRC course, if you guys are familiar with that, Barricade Cyber Solutions is actually sponsoring a raffle next week. Maybe we'll do raffles every day going forward, but Barricade Cyber Solutions reached out to me. We will be raffling 4 vouchers to the GRC course every single day. So 20 students next week, 20 vouchers for the GRC course next week. So if you have been wanting to take the GRC course, you have an opportunity to win a voucher to jump in there and learn it next week. Compliments of Barricade Cyber Solutions. So much love and respect. Thank you for Eric Taylor and the group over there for sponsoring those raffle prizes next week's. Oh, great, Robert Wiley. I'm glad you got value out of that. Yeah, smash that like button. Would genuinely appreciate that. Guys, if you want to be made aware when we go live with the daily threat briefing, go ahead and hit the bell for notifications. It'll just tell you, like, it'll give you a text message essentially when I go live with the stream, so you guys don't have to miss it. I know a lot of people prefer to be here live, which is super cool. And I super appreciate that. And to all the squad members, thank you for your support. I also appreciate that. Nick Barker listened to the live stream with Eric last night twice. And, it's not a bad idea. There really is, there's a ton of value in what Eric had to say last night. Sherry's going to go fishing this weekend for Father's Day. Very nice. I like that. Hamza. Yep, absolutely. I love it too. Thank you, Barricade Cyber Solutions. The brief is completed. We're just hanging out for a few minutes, talking in chat. It is a Friday. All right. Grayson doesn't want anyone to hit the down thumb. We do pretty good. We don't get a lot of negative vibes up in here. Only all about good times on the Simply Cyber channel. Oh, that's great, Kimberly. Yeah, I'm actually intentionally glitching my video feed. Dark Azrael says, I had a CISO ask mostly philosophical questions for a security analyst interview. How common is this? You know what? I would actually argue. Let me change my overlay because that's going to bother me. I would argue as Riel that CISO actually probably is a pretty good CISO. Asking philosophical questions is actually better because I don't care that you can memorize what port Telnet runs on. I don't care about that. I don't care about anything that you can Google because I expect you to Google, okay? But if I ask you philosophical questions, I can understand like what you think is important, what your mindset is, what type of prep work you've done. So, I think that that's actually a really great strategy, honestly, by that CISO. So good on them. I think Tea with a Hacker is going on right now. I'm going to look right now. Maybe we can raid them. I don't know. He was supposed to go live 25 minutes ago and has not gone live. He actually has a scheduled live. Neil Bridges over at Cyber and Security, so I don't know what he's doing. Okay, Grayson, we'll talk about it afterwards. T was canceled. It's still up on his YouTube, though. Have a great weekend, everybody. Yeah, Kimberly, I've got to get better. getting my stuff lined up next week. Oh, guys, if you're interested, next week on my Simply Cyber Live, we actually have Dr. Chase Cunningham coming on.
What's up, YouTuber? It's Jerry Auger here.
Dr. Zero Trust. He's a really cool guy. He was with the Navy for a long time, crypto guy, but Zero Trust expert, and he'll be coming on, and we'll be talking about Zero Trust. Like, I have a bunch of questions since it's kind of like buzzworthy right now. Oh, wait, hold on. You guys are not looking at what I'm looking at. I'm sorry. There you go. So he'll be coming on and talking to us about Zero Trust if you're interested in that. Okay. All right. Thanks, amigo. All right, guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. Thanks so much for being here today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Everybody here has a father. So, if they're available, if they're around, if you care for them, make sure to shoot them a note, give them a hug, give them a high five. Dads like that stuff. Okay. All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you today at 4 o'clock or Monday morning, 8 a.m. for the next threat briefing. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.